everyone, Crafting Vicky here with you, and I wanted to do something a bit different. I've been doing the recycled Christmas cards, and that a lot of people love that. And but those are not necessarily the cards I used to make. I used to make more the 6x6 type of cards, and I told I believe it was on one of the videos that I mentioned that that's the cards I used to make, and somebody mentioned that they would like me to make one. So I thought I would share with you that process. Now I'm thinking of using the 6x6 paper pad. It's from American Craft, and if I'm not mistaken, I think this was in one of the Target dollar spot bins, probably for more than a buck, obviously. But I think it came from the States, and it was picked up by somebody for me, but I'm not sure anymore. I've got a lot of paper, so I'm coloring this. This is Nina paper, and I'm coloring it with my favorite markers, which are my Copic markers. And so I'm going to be using this one is Apricot, and I'm going to be using that for his nose. When it's actually a snowman, it's a lot easier to make, and there's lots of fabulous videos on coloring with Copics, and obviously I'm not an expert in coloring with Copics, so I'm not even gonna mention that. I wasn't even gonna show it to you guys, but somebody mentioned, you know, that they'd like to see me do a card, and I figured it would be better if you guys would see it from the start to finish. And I chose this image. This is an image from Sandwell Caldwell. It's a new release image, and I figured this one would be a good one because it's a snowman. It's an easy one to color, and that is the reason why I chose him. Now for this, I'm going to be using reds, and then the ad is going to be black. This is going to be black as well, and this obviously is going to be green, and this is red. So maybe I can use this in green as well. So in the meantime, I'm just going to do a bit of, this is C02 in cool gray, and just going to do a bit of shadowing to his buttons and to his little necktie. And that's about the shadowing that we're going to be doing on this. I don't usually do a lot with little snowmen, and like I said, there's people that do way better than I do in using Copics. I'm really not good at it. Well, you know what I mean. I play with them and I have fun, but I'm not one of those experts, that's for sure. Taken a lot of classes, but still far from an expert. And since I started doing mixed media, I'm doing less and less of the actual Copics coloring. But I still enjoy it because it's really relaxing to color. And one of the things why I loved it so much was because of that. While you're coloring like this, you're not really thinking of anything else but the coloring that you're doing. And that in itself is pretty awesome. So I'm doing his little buttons here. So I'm looking forward to reading your comments on this video. I'm not sure that you're gonna like it, just because it's not the typical. One of the things that I love about digi images, and I've shared that with you guys before, is the fact that they're stored in your computer. Therefore, they don't take as much room in your house and such. And I have a lot of stuff, paints and whatever, and it's kind of nice not to have things that take extra room out of your house, because of the fact that, yeah, there's a lot already. So I'm going to be using R20, which is the blush for its little cheeks. He's got little cheeks. And then I'm going to be using lipstick red for this here little berry. And now we just have the green to do. And yeah, I've got a lot of Copics. I've been using them for a long time. I started by doing a lot of cards in 2012, and then I fell into Copics and just loved it so much that I got a lot of them. Now, I'm not quite sure. And what happens too, when I'm not sure like that, I usually end up doodling on the... See here, I messed up. And I went over. And I can still see it. And it's bugging me. But with the colorless blender, you can kind of remove the mess that you've made. It pushes back the ink inside, so that's a good thing. It's really dark. So yeah, I'm not quite sure. I've got the chart. I could go with the chart, but sometimes it doesn't look quite the same. Maybe going with those two, and then this one maybe. So I'm going to be using, this one is apple green on his little headband here, on his hat, as well as on the little bow tie. So I'm kind of doing the shadows with the same color. And then I'm going to be using the J16, which is malachite, on this. And then J19, which is bright parrot green. Strange name is because it's not a bright color, it's an actually quite dark color. So I don't understand how they come up with those names, but okay, so we've got our little guy colored, and we're ready to mount them on a card. So let me put my Copics away. And so we've got my card base. And usually I decide what color of cardstock I'm going to use on top of that. So I'm thinking maybe green. And obviously either I didn't cut my card base as a 6x6, or my card is not quite a 6x6, because this is obviously not measuring up. But that's okay, I'm going to cut around it afterwards. I'm going to keep an extra one because I usually do a lot of matting. And then we choose the color that we want to use on this. So I'm thinking that I really like this as the background. Be cool with this guy. And then I want something else. So maybe the bright green with him. Put this. I won't put it too far because I'm gonna need to remember to put down what the name is, because I usually put cards like this on my blog. Okay, so this is really distracting, the fact that there's such a big edge. So I'll cut those out. Usually I would cut it with my scissors afterward, but right now it's really distracting me. So just trim it with this first, and if there's extra, I'll trim it with my scissors. Okay, so we're much better. So then, pretty much the same way as I do my recycled Christmas cards, I eyeball it like that. Okay, so got this, and then I would usually fussy cut him out. And unfortunately, the little lines are gonna go because it just doesn't fit with this card. Try to get into the groove. Those are my favorite scissors for doing that. I just love them. They're from EK Success. So he's gonna go there, but obviously I want him framed. So let's check out. This is a DVD, a CD case, and those are my favorite dies, the ones that I use the most. And thinking that he could be cute on that, so we can use that. And then I need the sentiment to go with them, and I have a bunch of sentiments here that are French, and it's going to be Merry Christmas. So I can do a Merry Christmas, c'est Joyeux Noël, so it can be a Merry Christmas like this. And I usually double mat it, so I can double mat it with the red. So I'm going to do that. And a lot of people have been commenting that they usually use the paper underneath, and I do that too. When I do big cards like this and I use my dies, I often use the inside. But when I'm doing smaller cards and I'm just cutting out pieces, then it's kind of useless. So I don't do that. Okay, so can kind of do it this way, and I know I'm going to be covering the middle part with that snowman, so I can use this in the middle of it. See? No, actually, see, it's a good thing I checked. Okay, but my paper should cover that. Let's just make sure, and it will. So I'm going to do it that way. So those are Spellbinder dies that I'm using. And I have quite a lot of them. I love them. And a lot of people have been asking as well, what is the plate underneath that is magnetic? It's from Stampin' Up. And I really love it too, because it helps maintaining the die where it's supposed to go. Okay, put the rest of the sentiments away. And this back in its bin. And this is what I used was the label 11 from Spellbinder. In case you're interested, I love those. They're probably one of the ones I use the most. So now we've got that. Got this on top, this here, my little guy, and this here with the sentiment. And now I want to do more layering because it's just not enough. So I'm going to be using this extra piece of cardstock and move him over a bit. So I'm going to go with this size, and then that means that this one, which is going to be inside it, is going to go about here. There's been a lot of comments as well as to what this one is. This is a tonic guillotine. It's the 8.5 by 6, and I just love it. It's really awesome. I think it's by 6. Just check. Nope, not quite. It's more like 5.5. So 8.5 by 5.5. But it's just perfect for those smaller things that you want to make, but that's because I use a lot of 8.5 papers, And my other guillotine was, oh, this is too long again, because we cut down our card a bit. So I'm cutting it here. And I'm cutting out the part that's a little bit rugged from tearing it out of the paper pack. I'm gonna be cutting paper. I tried to do that and remove that little edge. Okay, so here we go. There's the paper. And here. And my little guy. And where did my sentiment go? Oh. That happens to me all the time, as you probably know if you've been watching my channel. But see, when I make one off, my desk is not so messy because I don't have so much stuff on it. Okay, so I'm thinking like this, but then you're thinking, okay, there's all that space right there. What are you going to do with it? Well, usually what I will do with it is put some sort of ribbon. And I've got this beautiful ribbon here that I'm thinking would be awesome on this. And so I'm going to be using this, my Bow Easy on it. So let me choose this. And if they keep talking, they won't stop. They can't. My husband just can't remember when I'm filming. It's just like impossible for him to do this.
Sorry.
So. Did you hear him? Okay, so here it is. And see, I made that right away. But I was probably off camera, so you didn't see. That's usually what will happen. So here it is. And just cut off the tails. And I will put it right there. And I'm thinking that this is pretty cute as it is. Now, I don't know if I want to add anything else. I'll probably put this to the side like this, just because I don't want it in his face. So let's start off by gluing all of this down, and then we can see where that takes us. If there's anything else that I really want to add, or if that is enough. So right there, and just cut off the little excess here. It's funny because he said he was sorry, but then you can still hear him downstairs. But then it might be just me, because often you guys would say that you didn't really hear anybody, but I can totally hear it, and it bugs me. But anyway, so here, put that in the middle of that, and then to put the ribbon, I usually put it like this, and then put just a bit here to hold it down. And then I put more on top of it, and that's how I glue it to here. I'm gonna glue it close because I glued it crooked. I'm going to glue it close because I want to have enough room, and I don't want the two reds to touch to each other. So I'm going to kind of put it, if I put it up here, I'm thinking I'm going to kind of put him in the middle. Like that. and then stick him on there. And those big cards, they cost more to ship. In Canada, it's $1.80 instead of being $1. But I really love the size, so yeah, I still do that. But it's not the best of. If you want to be cheap with your sending of cards, it's not the best. Okay, so then I'm gonna put this here. Here, and then put this on top. And here, and then I'm gonna just stick this on here. We said we wanted it here, so I'm gonna put it here. And I tried to put it on the paper as well so that it doesn't shift, because if it's just on the ribbon it might shift. Okay, so now the question is, do I add more to this or not? And as I was talking to you guys, this kind of fell. So I'm wondering if I just put a few of those snowflakes to they just, yeah, they just won't. They're yelling because they're playing video games together, and yeah. And here's my little card. So I hope that you've liked this. Please let me know if this is something that you liked seeing in person or not. Like I said, I know I'm not a really good Copic coloring, so don't judge me on that. Because I'm not saying I am. And I'm just having fun and sharing with you guys what the usual card that I would make would be like. Okay? Bye everyone!